on the Silas Rockrack deck, we have Lock. On the Ikra Kraum deck, we have If Cruise. And on the Turbo Tybalt deck, we have Sean B. And for the Cheese Rush, we have Sick Robot, known from Into the North. Yeah. So yes, we are starting here. Sick Robot is playing a land and soul ring, then following it up with an arcane signet and a Mox Opal. So really aggressive start here.
That's a great start.
And then he continues to play the Witchclaw Talisman. So that was a great start for Sick. Let's see if Sean can follow up.
Do we see a Chromax?
Pitching, is that Thoughtseize? I think it was the Invocation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
then Impales. Sure. Also a great start.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, Sick Robot must be in like a really glad spot right now.
Exactly, yeah. He has the tutor down. He has loads of mana, so we could see the turn 2 Adnos already here.
Yeah.
Oh, and we are next on. We saw Luck play a Underground Sea and pass. That's surprising. And Cruise follows up with a land and a mana crypt. So aggressive starts from all players except Luck, which supposedly should be the first fastest deck. Sorry.
Oh, and that's a turn 1 Ristic Study.
That is gonna make a turn 2 Adnos from Sick Robot a lot more suspicious, because he has to follow up with all the cards that he draws, and that generates draws for Cruise.
Yeah, you have to be really sure that he can win this turn. But even then, like, Cruise is tapped out, so the risk is not that big again.
So yeah, the players are shuffling a bit here. And yeah, so I believe the Ristic is still on the stack.
Yeah, we see a Vampiric Tutor in response.
Okay, and we now got audio from the pod. So now we can listen into what the players. Yes, and we are on the second turn for Sick. Untapping with loads of mana and a Witchclaw Talisman. So. Okay, interesting. So Sick is playing Thrasios out here.
Sure, that's also a thing to do. Being
So
maybe a
he's
bit
going
scared
for
of
this
the
a bit.
Ristic.
He's going for the bit slower approach here, I think, trying to police the table. Which makes sense given there's a Ristic Study, because that would be really hard to go through, I feel like. And we are now at Sean's turn. And oh, so that's probably what he imsealed for the Necro here.
Absolutely.
So we see Lewis or Cruz drawing from the Ristic. And it resolves. That is very, very good. Turn 2 Necro.
It sure is. But how much life do you pay into it
And
now?
he pays 30 life into it. He is going for it.
Yeah, he is. I mean, that's actually a quite good amount of life he pays into it. It's not that bad.
No. So now he gets to sculpt a perfect 7 with both interaction and a way to win the game, I assume.
Yeah, that's what you have to do as a Rakdos player, right? You have to go all in before the others, because you can't beat them at the late game.
No, I agree. It's what you got to do. Now though he has to discard almost 40 cards.
Yeah, that's the price you pay.
That is definitely no. The price you pay was 32 life, or or what he paid into it. 30 life, I believe it was. So yeah, that massively shifted the structure of this game. I think everybody is now on high alert for Sean's next turn. So yeah, Sean is just continuing to discard until down to hand size. So yeah, what do you think here? Do you think the rest of the players will now band together and trying to stop Sean?
I think they absolutely have to think about what their next move is, knowing that he's sculpting a perfect 7.
Yeah, exactly. Like this is either you win now or you make sure that Sean cannot win when he gets his turn.
Sure.
That's the name of this game right now.
I mean, Sig is in a great position here.
Oh, definitely.
The same as the Ristic Study player, like having the card draw engines and not having the problem with going a little bit further.
No, exactly. And as you said, Sig Robot has the Witchclaw Talisman on table, so if need be, he could go tutor up some sort of answer during his turn to make sure that Sean doesn't win. But that searching up an answer with Witchclaw is always awkward because you have to give it away.
Yeah, absolutely. So you have to be sure that you're going either for a really good value play that stops the other Witchclaw, or you can win that turn.
So you can hear the players here are discussing what Sean might go for. They're discussing whether or not it could be World Gorger. We know, of course, that World Gorger is not part of his deck. So I'd assume that it's probably gonna be some sort of Dockside loop with Underworld Breach and Culling the Weak.
Yeah.
Then we might see him mill out everybody with Wheel of Fortune or something like that. I did see some sort of Kiki line. I didn't really figure out what it all was.
There is a Kiki line with Sealess Conscripts.
Oh, so it's the classic, sealing.
Yeah.
So
or else you could like go for Underworld Breach into Dockside, make Infinite Mana with Calling the Weak, have a Praetor's Grasp maybe.
Yeah.
We know there's a tutor in his graveyard. Praetor's Grasp for an Oracle or something.
It's always sweet winning with your opponent's win cons.
Absolutely.
Especially when you're in non-blue.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're still in the process of discarding down to hand size. As I said, he almost had 40 cards in hand, so there's a lot to choose from. But we can hear the rest of the players now discussing how to stop him and what he might go for. But yes, we discussed probably Kiki lines or maybe Praetor's Grasp.
I mean, with a Ristic Study out, the Kiki line, if you can generate enough mana to it, is probably the safest one.
Yeah, creatures are notoriously hard to interact with on the stack, and everybody will need to keep up their interaction open mana, and as we discussed in the pre-game, 2 of these decks are Turbo Gnaws, so they're not filled to the brim with interaction. especially not interaction that could kill creatures.
No, I don't believe there's any or a lot of creature hate in this pod.
No, exactly.
Just as a reference, the Ikra Kraum player doesn't even run
Assassin's Trophy.
Assassin's Trophy
Yeah.
and Abrupt Decay.
No, exactly. They just want to go fast and leave the interaction to the other players. So Sean is in a very good position here, but he made sure that the other players are on high alert by having to pass the turn. And now we see Sean here starting to discarding a ton of cards. So he decided on his final 7. So I just heard him mention that he discarded a Wheel of Fortune, so he's at least not going for... He could have... yeah, I don't know. It's not a breach line, it seems like, but a breach is also slightly awkward with Necropotence. So my guess is we are going to see some sort of... Oh, there was a Kiki Jiki, so now I am... Are we on the Praetor's Grasp line?
We probably are. I don't know how he'll get around the Necro. I mean, you can cast your instance and instance before the Necro trigger.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm excited to see where he goes with this, and I'm also excited to see how the rest of the players respond here. So, we have Locke now untapping.
He's probably in the worst spot right
Yeah,
now.
but he did get to Vampiric Tutor, so he probably found something, but he did that before Sean drew 30 cards.
Yeah.
So I
Probably found Darkside.
Yeah.
That's what I would have done here.
But Darkside does open up his mana situation, so he could hold up interaction. And we see a mana crypt, I believe that is.
It is.
And we see Spleen Face in the chat being undecided on whether or not he should root for his Into the North podcast or he should root against him to make sure that he is the most winning player in our tournament from their podcast. That's a real dilemma.
So we saw a Mana Crypt and pass.
Mana Crypt pass, so yeah, as we said, they're just holding up interaction to make sure that Sean at least has to fight through something.
Sure. That means that Locke went for the Mana Crypt with his Vampiric Tutor?
Most likely, yeah. So we see a Grim Monolith and a Mox Opal from Cruz here. So also, Cruz is also showing a lot of mana. So they're definitely having a lot of respect for what Sean has been doing here. But obviously, as we said, given what has happened, you do need to either win now or make sure that Sean cannot win. So Spleen for the top right, we have Valky, God of Lies, the modal dual face card with Tybalt on the back, and the bottom left is Ikra Kraum. Oh, so we see Cruz play Kraum, so not holding up a lot of mana to interact. That's surprising, to me at least.
Yeah, absolutely. Going for the Kraum here.
Then again, Kraum has haste, so he can pressure his life total a bit. So we can see Sean going down to 4 life now.
But also a bit disrespectful to the Valky player, right? Going for the Kraum, only leaving 1 open mana for him.
Yeah, but I guess he still has what's it called, the heuristic study. So given that we assume that Sean at least has to cast a few spells, he will get to draw some cards, and as we know, CDH is filled with 1 mana interaction.
Yeah.
Still, I would say it's a bit greedy.
We also saw Sick revealing a Hull Breacher of the Thresh's activation.
Yeah. Obviously a good card, but not entirely sure that's what you're looking for right now. We could see him go for a sick line with Hull Breacher, then tutor up a wheel to basically screw over Sean.
Yeah.
But the issue here is that the other players are almost forced to interact with that as well, because they are also taken out of the game by that.
Yeah, that if anybody has interaction, that won't get by.
Exactly. So I doubt we'll see Sick Robot go for that, because if his opponents are using his their resources to stop him, that just means that Sean is going to win on his turn. And we see activation of the talisman here. And yeah, players are now discussing whether or not they're getting Hull Breacher wheeled, and as we just discussed, that could be a line you could go for, but it comes with some reliability in my mind.
Yeah, it's kind of exciting what he goes for.
Oh, definitely.
Like, Hull Breacher Wheel is definitely an option for him. But with that much mana open from Loki and 1 from Cruz, I wouldn't go for that.
No. Also, as we said, giving the Wish Claw to an opponent when you're not actually winning could be dangerous. I'm aware that his opponents will get hellbent, and he will have a lot of mana for interaction, but still, you never know what you're going to draw off a wheel.
No, not at all. But having like Thresh's activations with the Hull Breacher is a bit
definitely,
synergy.
especially when you get the, I think it's 21 Lotus Petals out of
Yeah.
it, so you're good. I'm not saying that it's a bad play, but
Yeah.
it's maybe a bit too risky for my taste.
I don't know. I'll take 21 Pebbles every day.
We know, but you didn't at last tournament, remember that?
So Spleen is saying we're forgetting that Reed is a greedy bastard. So yeah, we actually are.
He is. Well, he could be. We haven't seen it yet. So now we see the Hull Breacher, so yeah, it is most likely wheel into Hull Breacher into wheel. And we see he's not paying for the heuristic. Well, if you're gonna mind twist all your opponents, obviously it doesn't really matter at the end, but as we talked about, it could be that one piece of interaction.
Yeah, maybe he even went for the windfall instead of the wheel.
I think in this position I would go for the wheel, just because Pyroblast is everywhere.
Yeah, we see it right here.
Exactly. So this is what we talked about. Now he took interaction out of his hand and now made sure that Lewis or Cruz can interact with Sean. And now we're gonna see what Sean can do with his perfect 7.
Oh, he's playing a blood crypt here.
Going to 2.
Oh.
So yeah, Sean just mentioned that he hopes nobody has a lightning bolt. That would be very, very, very bad for him.
Yeah.
Just win on the stack. Opponent responds with lightning bolt, lose. That's gotta feel bad.
Yeah, at the same time he's saying this is my last turn, right?
Yeah. Okay, so we see a Mem Knight here. Most likely just setting up a Culling the Weak. Yeah, Culling coming here. So we see Ristic and Kraum triggering from Luis here. So he is drawing a lot of cards. So this is... Okay, so Sean is paying for the Ristic. So I'm feeling like we're gonna see the Praetor's Grasp grabbing somebody's Oracle, play it, and then follow up with Consultation here.
That could absolutely be.
And now we see the Praetor's Grasp coming in.
Not paying for Ristic.
So Sean is targeting Sick Robot with his Praetor's Grasp. Again, most likely going for the Oracle. However, Sick could already have it in hand.
It's an opportunity with Praetor's Grasp.
Exactly. And by going for this line, the way he discarded his other win cons, it is risky.
It's all or nothing.
It is definitely, yeah. This is most likely Sean's last turn.
Yeah, I mean, I probably would have preferred if he had the Seal's Conscript in hand, going for the Kiki Sealers.
Yeah.
That means you needed a dark side, but
exactly.
You drew 30 cards.
30 cards is a lot,
Yeah.
but you might get unlucky and not finding them.
Sure.
Paying for all these Ristic triggers can also come back and bite him, because he is choked a bit on mana here. But then again, you don't want your opponent to draw into interaction. Okay. So unfortunately, we are not aware what card Sean chose, but fairly likely it's gonna be an Oracle.
It's a bit interesting if he picks the Oracle. He only have like the City of Brass and a black mana open.
Yeah, but
As of now?
he was able to sculpt his entire hand,
Sure.
so... And we now see Consultation. And yeah, we now got confirmation that it was Oracle. And Sick Robot, being the greedy one, as we hear, he doesn't have interaction, just claims it here. So right now, I think it's on lock to interact. He's the one with the open mana.
Yeah, he's the one passing with four mana open, right? He'll need to have something.
Yeah. So lock is in the tank here. How to interact with that? And he now says that he has no way to interact with it, but he can give Luis or Cruz draws by casting spells into trigger. So yeah, Spleen Face was right. Sick Robot was very, very greedy here.
So the way he's casting Oracle with no blue, let me just double check. I believe Kratos Grasp.
I think Kratos Grasp fixes for you.
No, it does not.
It does not.
No.
No. In that case, then no, I'm not sure how.
No. He have
Okay.
to pay the correct amount of colors.
Yeah. So I think he might have missed that, maybe.
Yeah, probably.
We will see. We will see. So now, yeah, Sean is showing what he discarded earlier. We saw the Kiki there. Yorkwell, Wheel, Lotus.
I think even our players missed that it doesn't let him pay any kind of mana.
Exactly.
But he has to play blue.
I think Oppositionation is the one where, right, that light fixes for you as well.
Yes,
So
it does.
You can easily mix those up. And we see a mystical tutor from Locke not paying for the Ristic, giving Louise a draw. So I think it looks pretty dire for Sean in this with this setup right now. But maybe he has a plan. Obviously he got to sculpt his entire hand.
Yeah. I hope he do have a plan. Maybe have a Mox and a pedal.
Could be, could be. I'm sure we'll see in a second here. And Locke here is putting Wheel of Fortune on top of his deck. Oh, and now he puts Hull Breacher on the stack, triggering Ristic Study again.
That's actually a real good and greedy play if we get to his turn.
Oh yeah. Again, oh, so okay. Sean has LED in hand. We hear now, so he was aware.
So Mac, the players in turn order are Sick Robot, Sean, Locke, and Cruz going last.
And we now see Sick abrupt decaying the Hull Breacher, giving Louise or Cruz the opportunity to draw off of the trigger from Ristic Study. So here we see the classic interaction between the players where they discuss how to best resolve this without king making and without giving any player an advantage they can not do. So, but obviously we all forgot about LED. It's a very strong magic card here.
It is.
So Sick here sacrifices his Thrasios to Calling the Weak in order to provide Louise with another draw. So nobody can apparently interact here. Oh, and Cruz said that there's an option for them not dying, so he might have drawn what they needed off of those restrict triggers.
That would be sick.
That would be very, very sick. A lot has happened in a very, very short amount of turns here. So I think the LED is going to resolve here. Yeah. Sean is cracking LED for blue, and he is putting Oracle on stack, paying for Rhystic with the remaining blue mana. And we see Sean pulling it off, as we said, with one of his opponent's win cons.
Very surprising.